Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And hope your evening is treating you well and hope you're having a blessed Ramadan. About myself, I'm the Vice Dean of Admission and Registration. I am also the leader of the Education Research Lab, and I am an Associate Professor at the Linguistics and Translation Department at Prince Sultan University. I'm also an active researcher. I have over 55 research publications, all indexed in ISI and Scopus. And now we shall start immediately. How to write a research abstract. Before we do so, and before we dig into the research and the research paradigm, let's delve into this video and let me know with this graph, what do you think? So when you see this, an instructor giving a direction to an academic paper, and it's all full of mistakes. So let's share some of the hidden ups and downs reality of being an academic researcher. If you have tried as a student writing a research, what do you think that is challenging that you want to report? You can write it in the chat box. There's also a video, but I will only focus on the picture right now. I need you to write 2 words describing your research experience.
In what sense, Norah, please? Can you
Basically,
elaborate
with
maybe the students? In what direction you said?
So
Facing.
definitely. So we have studied research in English 103, and we have done some papers here and there. I want you to describe the ups and downs. So what is it? What is it that you have faced as a challenge that you want to report, or what tools, strategies that you have utilized that benefit you during your research process? I'm going to give 1 minute for that. If you have any comments, write it in the chat box. Other than that, we can continue on about that. Let me start sharing mine. I would call research a tangled process. It's not a streamlined process. It's not like, okay, I have an introduction section. Let me write the literature review then. Oh, no, let me go to the methods section. No, that's not it. And it's not like that. When you write research, you have to think of reasoning, justification, reading. Excellent, Sadiq. We have more reading to give a better research, and then decide why would I want to do this and how I want to do this and why utilizing such method would be the most appropriate method for such research. So if you, and that's only if you have tried writing research, please participate. All right, let me continue, and then I can come back to your participation. Before we start talking about a research abstract, I want to mention in general, what is the importance of scientific research? Why would we want to bother and write research paper? Well, research is a type of community service, and researchers dedicate their effort to produce a great quality paper that serve their selected fields to fill in any gap to improve the quality of these fields. Without having a scientific research, there will be gap here and there. Thus, the role of the researcher is very critical for the development of academic and scientific practice. Our main responsibility as a researcher to write exceptionally well. Because again, when you write something and you're not sure whether or not this is the right method, you're not sure whether or not this is the right analysis, you're not sure whether or not it's a gap or not, then you're not adding value to the field. All right? Okay. Open discussion. Why bother to write well? Well, since the ultimate quest is to share expertise, fill in the gap, and find solution, research paper must adhere to the following condition in order to reach their expected goals. 1, logical sequence of idea. 2, standardized language. 3, clarity and completeness. Generally, you need to adapt clear outline of idea and follow accurate logical order of scientific paper. So if you're asking, well, how can I start writing a paper? Start with an outline. Well, and have a brainstorming of your idea and start asking the main question, fundamental questions. What is the gap of the research? What is the importance of the research? This is the first thing that you should ask. As a researcher, what is the importance of such research? Is it researched well? Then you don't have to write more about it. Go find something that it's still needed. If not, well, here's your spot and you can delve into it. Then after that, you can say, well, is that the right question? How can I approach it? Where can I approach it? To whom I can approach it? And so on. All right. How can abstract help researcher in general? Before we're now talking about general of the importance of the abstract, and then we're gonna dig deeper to how to write an abstract in general. What is abstract? It is the synthesis, the summary of the whole research. So abstract is very concise statement of the major element of your research project. It states the purpose, the method, and the finding of your research paper. How much should you write? Well, to ensure that your abstract is complete, imagine another person reading. Do they have to read all the information to answer general question and gain the key concept of your paper as a whole? Is the abstract enough to determine whether they benefit from your paper or not? So basically, when you go and explore any research paper, you want to read and you want to know for sure, is that really a good abstract or not? Sometimes when I search and I even find it index in Scopus ISI, I will find the article and the abstract is written very poorly. I would ignore the whole article. Because again, from the abstract, you should know the whole story. The purpose of the abstract is to summarize, describe, and tell, and also the whole story of your research. So it's sorting, indexing. Abstract is designed to highlight key points from major sections of the paper to explain what papers include briefly yet clearly. In return, this benefits researchers with selection and indexing. Abstract allow researcher to determine whether a paper is useful for citation or relevant to the topic in early selection. Also, the academic journal database access through the library enable you to search abstract. This will allow you to use it for indexing. All right. So why should I know? What should I know to write about research? Well, basically, it can help you present complex information in a clear and concise way, help you read abstract more efficiently, and help you conduct research and write it in future publications and condense it in form of reporting. There's the different types of abstracting. There's descriptive abstract, indicative abstract, informative abstract, structured abstract, presentation, meeting, posters, and also the proposals abstract. So for these kind, which of these do you think we use in a scientific research? Boys and girls, gentlemen, I need
I
your
guess
participation, please.
descriptive.
Descriptive?
Yes, I guess.
Excellent. Basically, within your research, mainly the most used abstract is descriptive in nature. When we say descriptive, what does that mean?
Very concise and summarized يعني.
Excellent. Basically, descriptive, it's telling a story. Remember, we're telling what, when, where, how, and with whom. All right, there's 4 C's of abstractive writing: complete, concise, clear, cohesive. When I say complete, it covers all the major parts of the paper. When I say concise, that means it contains no excess wording or unnecessary information. And when I say clear, it's readable, well organized, and there's no too jargon laden. When I say cohesive, it flows smoothly between the parts. So let us repeat that again. يعني, we have 4 S's when we write an abstract writing. We have to think of the whole research paper. يعني من العنوان, we know the whole book, right? When from the title, we know the whole book. That's the abstract. From the abstract, you know the whole story of your research paper. You want to make it complete. That covers the introduction and covers the main theoretical framework, and also covers the methodology, the analysis type, and the analysis method, and also covers the main results. Along that line, covers the future directions and implications. When I say concise, that means you don't include wordings that it's not necessary. That we would call it fat to the whole paper. Also, when I say clear, you don't expect that the readers will read your mind and understand the language. You have to make it simple and academic, but also clear. Don't use jargon words. Coming from different fields, science, let's say law, and also much more, you want to make sure that when you have some wording, you have it clarified. So, for example, when I say effective filter that's used in linguistics, I would explain it. I would say effective filter, and then I would explain what an effective filter means. And I would avoid using such jargons within the abstract. I would clearly define it after the introduction section. Also, when you have some acronyms, let's say PSU, you don't say PSU, you say Prince Sultan University, or any acronyms that we utilize it within our writing. Cohesive, what does cohesive mean? Cohesive, that means when I read the first sentence, I know for sure that it's connected to the next sentence. I know that there's a clarity in the whole process. It sticks together the ideas. All right. Now, as we said, we have to ask the major questions. Why, how, what, and so what? The basic approach and methodology, usually it's one sentence. And for the why, it's the reason behind doing such research. Is it really needed? It's still a gap that we need to fill up. Also, the conclusion, you need to briefly explain what is the results and the implications behind it. Okay, now with the abstract writing, before you do so, and usually you write it after you're done with your whole paper because you want to summarize it, you're going to say, what are you doing? Why you're doing it? What happened? And what is the major finding that you have arrived at? All right. So when you do some pre-writing, it will help you gather ideas and do some brainstorming, and also help break down the writer blocks. With the quality of effective abstract, it's usually between 200 to 300 words, and they are well-developed paragraph, unified, cohesive, concise, and standalone. And you can use standalone qualities that use to be understood without reading the paper. So a good abstract, when I read it, I know for sure what is the major findings, what is the application, whether or not this paper is connected well with my investigation. So a good quality of effective abstract would include completely and internally consistent, no reference, no tables or figures, no few abbreviation as we mentioned, and also conclusion based on the data. Let me take an example of one of my research papers. You can see here, that is the title of one of the papers that I published in 2021. Co-constructing a meaningful online environment, faculty-student report in English as a foreign language college classroom. Basically, as you can see from the abstract, you can scan it here to read it more. The first sentence would be an introduction. The second would be the purpose, the justification behind that. The third would be the methodology utilized. And the fourth would be the results of such method. And then conclusion and implications and future direction. Let's delve into that. Introduction. Basically here, when you read the introduction section, you know for sure that I have mentioned faculty-student report, and then I put it here between parentheses. I did not use abbreviation. English as a foreign language classrooms, same thing again. With the introduction, I'm going to summarize it in one sentence saying that, well, what is the main point of your research? And then here, you're going to introduce part of the, you're going to hear in the introduction part of the abstract, you should establish the context of your research topic. And you should build a background around the topic to pave the way to the objective and the purpose of the research. The purpose, as you can see, the second statement here. The purpose, you're going to focus on highlighting the problem, the gap, the justification, and you should mention how your research attempts to solve such gap, why you're writing such paper. So this is really critical. And then here, methodology. When it comes to method section, you should provide an overlay of how you intend to execute investigation of the topic. And the sentence provide steps taken to ensure a successful approach to research outcomes of your paper, and its validity will be judged by the readers. Results. With the results section in the abstract, you should be direct and clear. Try to summarize as much as possible because it's provide all the key finding of the abstract. And also, it's pinpoint each result finding back to your research question. And also, we have the conclusion. Within the conclusion, you should do what? Focus on the overview of the implications and future directions and recommendation of future research, which again highlight the significance of the study. Are you following? I'm back to you guys. Please write yes or no or so-so. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, good. Right. What is the most important part of the whole process? Writing? Yes, this is how we start. Editing is the core principle. Once you're done with the abstract, compare it with the whole research paper. So you have to edit, edit, and edit. No excuse for typographical errors. We have to have no excuse for poor grammars. We have to pay attention to correctness. We have to pay attention to coherence. We have to pay attention to unity. We have to pay attention to the language in general. So very important that you give a good rule of thumb to reduce run-on sentences and to limit sentences into lines. This will help avoid wordiness and lengthiness. Before we conclude the session, I would love from you guys to mention one important element before you write an abstract to do. So before you write your abstract, what should you do? Write one important task. This is a quiz, informal quiz. Read examples, nice. Write the whole research, writing the whole research paper, excellento. Topic of the paper, we understand it. Come on, I want to hear you all. You can unmute yourself, or you can type here too. All right. So final key points. To write a good research or to write a good research abstract, you must first focus on the whole research process. You must select a good topic, make sure it is needed. There's a gap, so you're going to fill it. Also, make sure to follow the right procedure, which is, first of all, choose the right methodology, and analyze it correctly, and then report it authentically. And then after that, write the complementary session, which is the introduction. Make sure your literature is updated and up to date. And then also discuss and connect with the literature review, and then have your final implications. And then once you're done with all of that, you're going to go back and say, how can I say 21 pages, let's say, in 200 words, 350 words? How can I summarize it in a good way? It's not summary. Remember, an abstract, it's not a summary. Who knows the difference? Who knows the difference between an abstract or a summary or annotated bibliography? All right, let me explain it. Basically, when I say annotated bibliography, we call it annotated bibliography. We do it alphabetically and we do it for a purpose. Okay? We do it in a specific topic to make sure that this topic is related to mine or not. We don't usually see it in a research paper, the annotated bibliography. Summary, it's similar to the I'll answer this question in a second. Thank you for asking. Summary, it's similar to the abstract. ولكن summary, you can have a page or two of the whole research paper and you can cite in it. With the abstract, no, it's mostly 350 word and range from 150 to 350, mostly in most journals. And then when you write it, you have to cover the most core element of the paper. You have to cover the justification of the selection, the importance of such research, the method selected, the results reported, and then the final say, which is the so what? You're done with your research, so what? What is this? Why is so beneficial that I continue reading your paper? So the implication for future direction, also the implication for policymakers, and so on. All right. So let me go back now here. This is all I have to offer for this session. I welcome any kind of recommendations and questions. And I can see here, we already have one question or two questions. Yay. I have a question. What is the difference between an abstract and introduction? Hoo-hoo. There's a huge difference. We can compare an abstract with the summary. Summary is a lengthy, let's say a lengthy version of the abstract. Abstract is concise. Tamam. We have the introduction. We have some of the covered theoretical framework, the justification, the methodology, the results, the future direction, all included in abstract and summary. بس ولكن in the summary we have it very lengthy, and we all, sometimes we also cite there. With the abstract, it's very concise. Clear? Before I move to the next question. Okay, so let me explain what is in the introduction, and that might be in another session, but within the introduction, you're going to have a background of that topic. Remember, you're going to have a lengthy background. You're going to cite updated research. You're going to have your research questions. You're going to have significance, justification, and also the gap reported, and so on. All right. What else we have? Does the abstract of a paper different from abstract of a thesis, or they have the same format? That is a really brilliant question. Basically, a thesis is a very lengthy type of a research paper. But again, abstract is an abstract. So they are very similar. So when you write an abstract for your thesis or your dissertation, it's really similar as you're writing an abstract for your research paper. Good. Let's move on. How can I evaluate the abstract by myself? If it's good or needs rewrite? Well, that's a nice question too. It's really good as a researcher to have some kind of evaluation. Well, to start with, remember, there's some sections that you as a researcher must cover. You cannot neglect. Number one, you're going to make sure that you have an introductory statement. You're not going to start by writing a free writing. They'll say, education is really critical to be utilized and blah, blah. No. We're not writing a very general tone. We're going to jump into the point and we're going to mention why is this very important topic to cover. And once we're done with the justification, we're going to say if there's a theoretical framework we're utilizing, and then we're going to jump into the method section. The method section will be connected to all levels, and we call the method section the heart of the whole research. إذا كان القلب عليل, everything will be dying. The method section should be really clearly clarified. So when you say, well, I'm going to utilize this because, again, this will answer my main question or inquiry. And then you're going to have findings and then implication afterward. How can you evaluate it? Make sure that all these sections are included. And also, it's really good once you're done to give it a peer review. It's really important once you're done to have some constructive feedback, either from the WTC or from your peer or from your instructor, and so on. All right. Thank you. Thank you for attending. Thank you for a nice presentation. Thank you,
Can
Doc.
I
Thank you so much.
can I add
Yes,
something, Nora?
absolutely. Shoot it, please.
Yes, in this is very interesting. Of course, I just want to compare with scientific field, science field, let's say, or science and engineering. For our case, the first, the abstract will cover mainly 4 or 5 aspects. The first one is problem statement. Which problem you want to solve? So you see, there is slight differences between us. So what problem you want to solve? The second aspect, you need to say straightforward, as you said, novelty. What is the novel? What is novel in your research work? This is what, as editor myself, because I'm editor since few years, we focus on this. So first, I want to know what is the problem you want to solve. Then the next one, what's your novelty of your research? Then the third one, I'm talking in scientific field, like science and engineering, etc. The third is the most significant results. The most significant. So imagine you do different measurements. You don't need to show or to say all the results you find, just the most significant. Some journal, by the way, now they expect you to write only 100 words as an abstract. How you are going to put all this? And the last aspect, or the fourth aspect, is what is the future? Let's say it's 2 things together. It's what is the contribution of your research work in the field? So you see, most significant results. What is the contribution of your research in your field or your project in your field? And the last one, what is the future of your research? And they insist on this. As you said, once as an editor, when I read, I don't see these things, khalas, I just reject the paper. Because as an editor, we receive many papers, a huge number of papers. So how you are going to select? On what basis? So you have this criteria, 4 or 5 aspects, and you see. And some journal now, they insist, they reject or they resend to the author the paper if the number of words is above 100 sometimes. This is just to clarify for with different fields, there is slight changes.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's why it's very important before writing a research paper is to read. To read all the papers that covers the same topic, and then read how they write it, what type of citation that they're utilizing, the style of the writing, so you can later on imitate. Yes, we have Dr. No, by all means.
Hello all. Thank you, Dr. Norah, for this amazing talk. Actually, it's very great introductory level for the undergraduate students to prepare them for the next event. Good luck for all of them who are participating. Allow me to add something about the difference between the introduction, abstract, and what was the third one? Introduction and
bibliography, or
yes.
The third one is the poster, preparation of poster.
Poster command. Okay.
Just that the difference between the 3 things that you have mentioned, which is introduction, abstract, and annotated bibliography. I agree with all what you have mentioned, but I would like to add something for the annotated bibliography and the summary. They're basically summaries, and also the abstract. Like if we say one word to describe all of them, they are summaries. Yes, all of them. But the abstract, it's descriptive in nature. A very short paragraph, while the summary, it could be long, as you said, but it could have an evaluative nature to it. We can evaluate it or criticize or critique that summary. It depends on the function or why I am writing this summary. It could be just a summary without any critique or evaluation, or we can add something. For the annotated bibliography, also, it's usually short paragraphs, usually for research purposes. We just summarize the papers that we are reading, and we summarize them in just one paragraph or 2, then add 1 or 2 lines at the end as critique or evaluation for me as a researcher. When I go back and try to write my literature review, I can see I have a snapshot of all of my references or papers that I have read to do my literature review or I based my research on. So that's just something that I would like to add to the students who are participating in the event for undergraduate students. I don't know, it's research event or something. Good luck all. That's all, and thank you again for this talk.
Thank you for your participation. Good points.
Well, let's hear our students, maybe if they have any question or any comment to add.
If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, recommendations, please write it here, or please unmute yourself. All right. By that,
forum,
we should...
I want to add that the forum will be an amazing, opportunity for students through Saudi Arabia, through the kingdom, to participate. And we are going also to make teams, and we will allocate for each team a mentor. Among them, Dr. Norah, depends on, on specialization. So we will try to mentor them during their projects and how they prepare the abstract for submission, how they prepare the poster. So it's more just than a competition, like we say. It's more we try to train you or to guide you or to help you during all the process, inshallah.
That's a brilliant idea. Nice.
But next year we will have another surprise, inshallah. So each year we try to...
I love your surprises. All right. With that, we should conclude our session. Thank you, everyone, for attending. If you still have some questions, concerns, suggestions, please feel free to email it to the rec or to myself directly. And also, inshallah, in the near future, we're going to have face-to-face sessions where we can, have interactive sessions where I can correct your papers, your abstract, and so on.
Yes,
but
exactly.
With that, we should conclude the session. And thank you so much for attending.